Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgiemon and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about Chainsaw Man chapter 118. So, what did I think about this week's chapter? I personally thought this chapter was great and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought this chapter was actually, from the very first page, I was at the edge of my seat because I didn't know what was going to happen, especially because of last week's chapter in that cliffhanger that, where pretty much Yoru touches Denji and she goes, Denji spinal cord sword. So me and the rest of the fandom, we were all pretty, scared what was going to happen. And I'm very happy that I predicted what was going to happen in this week's chapter. And overall, I thought this chapter was great. Now, before we get into this week's chapter, I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all Chainsaw Man anime and manga content going forward. I would really appreciate it if you guys could, and it really helps me out a lot. And yeah, if you guys could, I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. But with that being said, let's get into this week's chapter. So in this week's chapter, we start where we left off last week, which was pretty much the whole Yoru touching Denji and the spinal cord sword, and us stressing out thinking what's gonna happen because we didn't know whether Denji was gonna die or whether he was gonna survive, because we know Fujimoto always loves throwing curveballs, and we know that in part 2 Asa is mainly the main character now. Denji's taking a back seat, kind of similar to a JoJo situation where Jotaro is the main character in part 3, and Joseph, the previous protagonist, he's taking more of a back seat. He's still one of the main characters, but he's not the our main focus of the story so far, since the last 20 chapters or so have been based on Yoru and Asa, their dynamic and whatnot. So going into this week's chapter, I was very scared to see if Denji was gonna die, which I'm very happy that that doesn't happen, because what happens is Yoru touches Denji and nothing happened. Pretty much like I predicted in my last review, I said that most likely it won't work. Now, while it didn't work at all, Yoru continues to try it, and she keeps spamming, the whole Denji spinal cord sword. She keeps repeating this, and Denji's just like confused, like, what are you going on about? And she keeps doing it, and then eventually Denji just like, okay, that's weird. So what does Denji do? He grabs Asa, aka Yoru, he grabs her by her head, and then he goes, Asa spinal cord sword. And then he just goes, that's a weird way to say goodbye. See you later. And he just says goodbye. So once again, Fujimoto, saying goodbye, the name of the chapter, he threw a curveball at us, because you see the crows and everything in the first page. So we're thinking, is Denji gonna die? Is this farewell letter? Is this where we say goodbye to our homie Denji? But no, it was a curveball, and I loved it. Definitely subverted my expectations and a lot of the people that were stressing out about Denji, whether he was gonna survive or not. And like I said, I called it, and I'm glad that I did, because I didn't want Denji to die, because I think there's way more for us to see of him, and I'm glad that he's still in the story. But continuing that on, we see that the reason that it didn't work out is because apparently Yoru starts thinking like maybe he doesn't love you, maybe it only worked because you only love her, you only love Denji, Asa. It doesn't work because Denji has to love you as well. I guess that's what they're theorizing, and that's where Asa starts thinking like, well, like, it's fine. I mean, I don't love him anyway. And that, she's in denial. Let's be honest. She's 100% in denial, because we knew in last week's chapter that Yoru can read Asa's thoughts, and, they share the same brain. So if Yoru knows that Asa's in love, it doesn't matter how hard she might try to deny it. She is in love with Denji, and she starts really like doubting herself. She starts feeling down, because she's like, all those things that he said to me, and he still doesn't like me like that. Like, what is the deal? And throughout it all, they start talking about like, the aquarium, and you should get some rest, because they're exhausted, they've been there for a while. And eventually, Yoru's like, hey, that girl from the aquarium we met, don't mess with her. That she is trouble, she's crazy, and she's my older sister, don't mess with her, she is bad news. And Asa's like, oh, all right, that's fine, whatever. And then she's like, oh, so I'm gonna go to bed. And then you just see Yoru pass out. She just lays in the bed, and Asa's like, get up, dude, what are you doing? Like, take a shower at least, dude. Don't go to sleep before even taking a shower. Don't be nasty. And Yoru passed out. It was hilarious. I thought it was funny. Fujimoto really captured his humor, his typical humor with that the way that he paneled that scene, and I thought it was great. And continuing that on, we see that, Asa sits down because, she's back in the driver's seat now. She's in control of her body, and she sits down and she starts thinking about Denji. And like I stated before, she starts really thinking like, all this time we spent in the aquarium, like, did that mean nothing to him? Like he said all those nice things, but he doesn't love me. Like, what's the deal? And she starts like, you really see her doubt herself. Like, she, as teenagers, they overthink stuff, and I'm sure Denji is fond of her, but he's not gonna love her right off the bat. They just met, and we all know it's, teenage love. So maybe, it's definitely, Asa overthinking it, because for her, she loves Denji, and she's like, why doesn't he love me back? I thought we had a connection, but that's not how love works. If you guys, everybody knows this, but they're teenagers, so they don't know any better. And she starts like, doubting herself, like, what's the deal? And eventually, she pretty much gets triggered. Like, she's mad. She's like, excuse me, he does not like me? What is his problem? Like, you just see this amazing panel of Fujimoto of just Asa looking, up in the ceiling of her room, just like confused, like, like, what is his deal? How dare he, not love me just yet? Like, it's hilarious. I thought it was funny, and it fits in character with Asa and everything we know about her so far. So I thought the scene was hilarious. And the next page, we just see that, she's mad, like super mad. Like, she's like, how dare he? Who does he think he is? He's so irritating. And, she's biting her lip, and it's, she's just, triggered. Like, how dare he? She thinks that she got played. She thinks that he's just playing with her feelings and all that. But like, no, dude, like, she's overthinking, typical high school behavior from, teenagers. That's what it is at the end of the day. And I thought it was great. Fujimoto really captures those moments with characters, and they're in her thoughts. And I think that he does an amazing job in this chapter. He really demonstrated that with the way that you see Asa's whole mental state just go from one place to another as she consistently thinks about Denji. So I thought that was great. And we see pretty much that, they meet again in school, and Denji's like, hey, about that date, let's go on that best date ever. We're still down for that. Let's go to watch a movie marathon that they're doing at a local theater that I know. And it's going to be, an all day marathon of movies. We should definitely check it out. I think it's going to be the best date ever. And Asa's like, no. How about, isn't that too expensive? I don't want to go to a pricey date. So she's already kind of mad at Denji. So pretty much she just goes like, that's a little too pricey. Why don't we do something like much cheaper? And Denji's like, oh, what are you thinking about? And then she's like, why don't we just rent a movie? And Denji's like, are you sure? But like, okay, I mean, if that's what you want. And he's like, do you have a VCR? And she's like, no, I don't have one. And it's like, how about you? Do you have a VCR? And then he's like, I do. And she's like, okay, then we'll just watch it at your place. And Denji's like, oh, what? A girl coming over my place? Like, whoa, like, my man Denji, he knows what's up. Like, he's sweating buckets right now. He's like, whoa, she wants to come over to my place? This girl? Oh my goodness. So he's like, stressing, like sweating, and he's like, oh my god, we can't do this at my place. It just wouldn't work. And then she's like, come on, either we do it at your place or there won't be no date. I guess you don't want a date then. And then he's like, all right, it's fine. We can do it at my place. We can watch the movie at my place. However, just make sure you don't break any rules, okay? And he's like, oh, what do you mean? He's like I said, whatever you do not break any rules. And she's like, okay, why is that? It's like, because if you break any rules, you will die. And you see in the background, the Chainsaw Man Stan, the guy that has the little fan club of the Devil Hunter Club in high school. He's in the background, like, staring off, like, what's happening. So he's kind of eavesdropping. So we're setting up for next week's chapter, and why not? But we know where this is going. We're going to see Nayuta, because I'm wondering, like, what's going to be the interaction once Yoru sees Nayuta, because I know some people have seen the memes of pretty much like Yoru like sweating buckets the second she sees Nayuta, like, oh my god, she's so powerful, she's one of my older sisters. Like, I think it would be hilarious. I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna go into the room and go into the house or whatever, and Nayuta's gonna be there, and Asa's gonna be like, oh, this sweet little girl, and then Yoru's gonna be sweating buckets like, oh, Asa, don't trust that, that's the control devil, do not mess with that. We also know that the Chainsaw Man Stan guy, he's gonna be eavesdropping or stalking their date most likely, which I think be hilarious. But yeah, overall, I thought this chapter was great, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun, and I can't wait for next week's chapter because, like I said, we're most likely gonna meet Nayuta and catch up with her because we haven't seen her since part 1. So I'm very excited to see, you know, what she's up to because she is the control devil after all. But with that being said, what did you guys think about this week's chapter? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys thought it was alright? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Chainsaw Man anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.